I recently watched How to Train Your Dragon for the first time and liked it more than I thought I would, because while I love animations, not really into dragons, not really into fantasy, but I had a good time with it. So I decided to check out the sequel, and in general, I did enjoy it, but I probably wouldn't watch it again. This was released in 2014. If you can believe it definitely doesn't seem like it was that long ago. It's directed by Dean DeBlois and written by DeBlois and Cresta Cowell, and I apologise if I've mispronounced any of those names. And we have a voice cast including Baruchel, Cate Blanchett, Gerard Butler, Craig Ferguson, America Ferrera, Jonah Hill, Christopher Mintz-Plasse, and various others. We obviously have a brilliant voice cast here reflected in the voice acting. The animation style itself is the usual quality we can expect from DreamWorks. In fact, in some ways, I'd say it's even better than the average DreamWorks film. I don't know if that's the case, really, but it just looks absolutely incredible. And the narrative is not too bad at all. I'll read the description from IMDb, as I think this sums it up quite well, quite basically, without going into too much detail, but it sums it up nicely. And IMDb says... Actually, first of all, I think this might end up spoiling bits of the first film. Not really, but also if you haven't seen the first film, definitely check that out first. IMDb says, when Hiccup and Toothless discover an ice cave that is home to hundreds of new wild dragons and the mysterious dragon rider, the two friends find themselves at the centre of a battle to protect the peace. That is a very basic description of what is happening, but it also does describe it a little bit. And I was really looking forward to following Hiccup and Toothless and their journey, but the narrative itself, I never really found to be that interesting, but that's purely down to personal preference. As I said, I wasn't really sure I'd even like the first film because it's not my kind of story, but there are so many other amazing elements that it was still a really enjoyable experience, and that's generally the case here as well. Judging it as objectively as possible, the narrative is well written, the pacing is great, the rate at which we meet new characters is really good, the characters themselves are all brilliant, very well written, both new and old characters, and the voice acting, as I said, is great. So it's still engaging for me, even though I didn't love the story, but I wasn't emotionally invested in it. That being said, there were a couple of emotional scenes that did get me, so it's moving, it's engaging enough, but if the narrative really appeals to you, then I think you'll find it to be a really fantastic experience. We also have some really great dialogue, and visually it's just breathtakingly beautiful. It is so gorgeous, and in some ways, and this is not a criticism towards DreamWorks, in some ways I feel like the animation is more beautiful than some of their more recent releases. Obviously it's a slightly different style to some of their other releases. It's not that it's better as such, it's that it lends itself to being just more breathtaking, more stunning. Really loved watching it. The narrative, I enjoyed enough, wasn't that invested in it, but it was still a decent experience. As I said, I probably wouldn't watch it again, but as a one-time watch, as a continuation with Hiccup and Toothless, I thought How to Train Your Dragon 2 was a pretty decent experience. And fun fact, I did this little outro 3 times because I kept saying how to drain your dragon. So if I have said that at any point without catching it, I apologise. How to Train Your Dragon 2 is ultimately a pretty good film.